So I rewatched Avengers: The Age of Ultron recently, and I remembered when this movie just came out, it received a lot of hate. But why? Was it the dodgy CGI? Was it the quirky quips on the long-running joke of Captain America cursing?
Language.
Or maybe he was just the villain. I mean, according to the internet, it's an amalgamation of all these points. And in today's video, I'll be going over what was so bad about the movie and show you guys why these flaws actually made the movie great. So please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. One thing I realized a lot of people hated about the movie was the dialogue and the quips.
I've seen her flirt. Up close. This ain't that.
What do you mean up close?
I enjoyed every bit of this. Maybe because I am somewhat of a cornball, the jokes really hit home. They were really funny, and some of them even flew over my head the first time I watched the movie, probably because I was a lot younger. But now that I'm rewatching it, some of them I'm actually surprised it made its way on screen. Like, I remember this one specific scene.
Romanoff, you and Banner better not be playing hide the zucchini.
Come on guys, that's actually crazy, but I really feel like the dialogue and the jokes in this movie really made it feel more fun and enjoyable to watch. I genuinely laughed at some of these jokes. Maybe it's just my sense of humor, I'm not sure, but this was really good. The dialogue also really showed the dynamic between each character. Even though they're a team, each of them have personality traits that differentiate them from one another. While it may feel dragged on at some point, it served that purpose to really show them together interacting with one another. The overall structure of the film was great. I think each scene flowed and played really well into the next. But what Age of Ultron does that the previous film didn't is give us more slow-paced scenes and intimate interactions between the characters. Some may argue that these scenes were unnecessary, for example, Natasha and Bruce's relationship and also Clint's interaction with his family. But those moments actually showed an interesting dynamic with these characters. After Natasha's fears were resurrected, she wanted an escape. She wanted to run away from what she think was a very undesirable lifestyle to something that she imagined could be great, a life with Bruce. As much as that idea was nonsensical, to me it seems very natural. Given the circumstances, that's a very human emotion to feel and a very human reaction to have in that moment. Hawkeye having a hidden family while everyone else fails to maintain a good relationship with others and even with themselves show how different of a character Hawkeye is from the rest of the group, reiterating that he's really just a supporting character and not built like the rest of his teammates. Were these plot lines necessary? Yes, it added an extra layer and depth to the characters, one that wasn't explored in the previous film. The writing, however, did have some non-redeemable plot holes, because Ultron's reason for killing the Avengers, it wasn't really communicated properly to the audience. Why exactly did Ultron want to kill them? Because he hated them?
There's only one path to peace. The Avengers' extinction.
I had to do a little extra research that Ultron developed immense emotions after being activated due to the Mind Stone, and all of that was directed to the Avengers and his creator Tony Stark, but that wasn't really communicated to the audience. But aside from that, the writing is pretty close to perfection. There was a whole thing with Thor helping to create Vision that is still very vague and unclear, but it did set up for the introduction of the Mind Stone and of course the rest of the Infinity Stones, so it was important. It just didn't really make sense at the time. And I also understand that a lot of people believe that Ultron was dealt an injustice because of how easily the Avengers defeated him, and I understand, I sympathize with you guys. The stakes didn't feel as high, but that was kind of the point. The Avengers weren't exactly fighting Ultron, they were fighting their own fears and inadequacies. Stay with me here. Ultron's existence was solely based on Tony feeling like the Avengers wouldn't be able to protect the world forever. Tony's own shortcoming and inadequacies led to the main villain of this film, and then we were further introduced to the other fears of each individual teammate, and all these fears did end up affecting the Marvel universe. Hulk chose to leave Earth because his fear of killing innocent people came to life, and that ended up leading to Thor Ragnarok. Natasha wanting to leave the life of being a spy also kind of hinted at her dying further on in the movie. I think it was really between her and Clint, but it kind of solidifies that she really wanted to leave and she felt like her life before becoming an Avenger was really tainted. Captain America's fear never seemed like it affected him much, but it did. We just didn't see it until Avengers Endgame, when he decided to stay in the past because he realized that there was more to his life than just war, because that was originally Captain America's main objective or main goal, to fight war, and once there was no war left, he felt like there wouldn't have been a place for him in the world.
The war's over, Steve. We can go home. Imagine it.
And this leads to my final point. You probably can't appreciate this film as much because you missed the main point. The main objective of this film wasn't to show how threatening of a villain Ultron was, or how smart Tony Stark is, or how noble Steve Rogers is, but it was really to set up building block for the future Marvel movies. In the post-credit scene of this film, we were introduced to Thanos. Once you accept that this was the main reason for the film, it changes the entire experience that you have when watching this movie. While I believe that it is sad that they nerfed Ultron for the sake of the plot, because he was a really good villain, especially in the comics. Ultron was a greater threat to the Avengers, and even in the What If series, Ultron displayed immense power, killing Thanos and acquiring all the Infinity Stones. But I think they did a way better job using Ultron for the plot than they did with other villains, for example Cassandra Nova, because Ultron did do a lot of damage. Plus the way how he was defeated made sense. Just in case you don't remember, some of Jarvis's consciousness was left undamaged. He was basically restraining Ultron from using his full abilities. So technically we didn't even get to see Ultron at full power. The CGI was hard at times, don't get me wrong, like this scene right here. But given that this was a setup film and it relies heavily on CGI for the main characters that looked beautiful, I think we can give it some leniency. And what it lacks for in CGI, it definitely makes up for in cinematography and storytelling. So, come on guys, like, Age of Ultron isn't that bad. I think you need to rewatch it and you'll really get a different experience from the movie, and you'll definitely appreciate it more for what it actually is. That's the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure that you like and subscribe and click this video here.